welcome to the Hilltop. What's up, Siddharth?
What's up? Hi, Nikhil. Hello, everyone.
Okay, let's start. We have a topic which is incredibly uh, close to my heart in the sense that I have seen it happen in front of my eyes as I have become, conscious or cerebral of like what the world is and how it works and all. Smartphones have changed the trajectory of our country. It's changed the trajectory of every fucking country, but for India, I think it's changed it in a ridiculous way. Like the trajectory is shifted so much because of smartphones. It's just ridiculous.
Yep.
So let's start. I mean, Siddharth, when was the first time you were exposed to smartphones?
I was exposed to a smartphone. This was, I think, 11th or 12th, I'm not sure. And someone, like one of my elder cousins or someone, got it. And I saw that, you could touch the whole thing and everything. I was blown away by it. I was like, wow, this, like, I had never thought in my wildest dreams that, this would be in everybody's hands down the lane, 5, 6 years down the lane. I thought this is just another, tech gimmick and it will fade out. That is what my
Right.
initial impression was. But then it has arrived, and how, like, it is insane the kind of, penetration it has got. So it all started with Chinese phones, I remember.
No, no, one sec. So in this case, I have seen you also closely with smartphones, so I have a better sort of story around it. So
Uh-huh.
guys, this guy, when all of us college kids had started moving to Android phones, and I was fortunate enough to get an iPhone from my parents because they had set like a challenge for me, okay, boss, if you get 90%, we'll get you an iPhone, and I actually did.
Right.
This ass used to use a fucking Nokia 2690
Yeah,
for the longest of times.
I used that throughout college also, dude, and I was really happy with it. I
I
was
was
very
like,
clear कि मुझे ये स्मार्टफोन नहीं यूज करना है बॉस.
I was like, भाई तू क्या कर रहा है, ये क्या फोन है? It's like, why are you wasting your time with this? मेरा दिमाग खराब होता था. Because like I was one of the few people, and I'm not even joking, Siddharth, you can check this. I had paid and taken WhatsApp on my
What?
phone. So yeah, so WhatsApp initially when it was released as an iOS only application, and it would
Uh-huh.
cost 50 rupees to buy.
Okay.
And I actually was one of the few subscribers who had paid and taken it. And a lot of my friends who had Android phones, for them WhatsApp was free. So they used to
Okay.
use WhatsApp, and I started playing around with WhatsApp very early on. So
Wow, I didn't know this.
this I'm talking about 2009, 2010. And
Right.
this asshole, he's stuck onto his freaking Nokia 2690. I don't know why. That phone
Yeah.
also wasn't so good.
It helped me take calls and it helped me make calls. That is all I wanted to do with the phone. I was pretty adamant on it. And yeah, like this was 11th and 12th, me and Nikhil were together. So after
Right.
that, I went on to another college. Yo, yeah, dude, this phone, white
This
color का
phone,
phone है
my
पूरा.
god.
So I went to
And you
this.
know what's the worst part? Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
So I went to this college where the cream of the city used to come,
Right,
and all rich kids and spoiled
right,
brats, and we used to buy the iPhone the day it used to come out. Every year 10 आया तो 10, 9 आया तो 9 लेना है, 8 आया तो 8
right,
लेना है, ऐसा वाला था.
right,
And at that time, I was using this Nokia, and these guys, like this friend of my these friends of mine, they thought that चलाने को गिफ्ट ही कर देते हैं, वो खुद तो लेगा नहीं.
huh,
So they were planning on actually gifting me a smartphone, and one of my friends from obviously from school times, he came to me and told me that this is what these guys are planning.
huh,
Should they do this? And I
huh.
lost my shit. I was like, listen, it's not that I can't afford a iPhone. It's just that I don't want to use one.
Bro, So I can tell you guys for sure that affordability was not an issue, at least for a smartphone.
Yeah.
And this guy would use the Nokia 2690. And the worst part was like half of his buttons were gone.
Yeah,
And
there used to be a rubber band all over it.
yeah.
I remember going to inter-college fests and like people from other colleges asking me, "What happened to your phone, dude?" And I was like, "No, this is my phone. Nothing happened to it." And I was never
So,
embarrassed about it because in
so
my head I was like, "Yeah, it's too much of an intrusion into my life. I just want a phone to make calls. That's all."
and I come from the complete opposite spectrum, guys. So I used to use app. I was like a mad Apple fan. Okay, I still am. Like I'm a mad Apple fan. I still believe that that business has done so much to push humanity forward. It's ridiculous. And
It has.
I had started using, like, if you remember, there was a huge debate at once, WhatsApp versus Telegram and all that. And I used to use both WhatsApp and Telegram at that time. I'd seen all the features, telecalling. People were so surprised that you could do online meetings. And I mean, I had Skype and Zoom and all those things installed on my phone. So we come from completely opposite spectrums. This guy over here was stuck to his basic phone for the longest of times, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I graduated in 2014 and
Uh-huh.
I got my first smartphone in 2015, I remember. That was it was a flash sale that happened and I got MI 13. It
Right,
was one of
right,
the
right.
first flash sales, right?
That was a very nice phone.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
a
a really
very
good
nice phone.
phone.
Yeah,
And in those days, internet was not cheap.
yeah,
We had to pay up, like it wasn't 1 GB per day for sure. It was 1 GB per month or something like that. And
yeah.
and so because of that, not a lot of apps, and ended up getting used. And it was very initial days in the
Right,
smartphone industry and the app ecosystem in India at least.
right. So, for me, my first exposure to apps was actually when I'd got an iPhone, and someone on YouTube had posted a video that you
Right.
can play Game Boy games on an iPhone.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was a mad fan of games like this, Pokemon and Dragon Ball and all that, Mario and all
Right,
that.
right.
So I installed an emulator. I
Mm-hmm.
jailbroke my phone. I installed an emulator, and that was the first
Nice.
exposure to apps. And I
Okay.
was like on cloud nine because Game Boy is something which, I mean, I found out much later in my life about Game Boy and that entire Nintendo ecosystem.
Uh-huh.
And smartphone, somewhat gave me access to that. So I used to play Game Boy games on my laptop and all that. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it was really fun, playing it, and after understanding, okay, this is how the ecosystem is. And that's when all these apps started coming like crazy. And
Right.
I really should attribute more, apart from Geo. Now Geo gave the infrastructure. So let's start the story, right? So 2009-10 smartphones start coming in. 2012-13, I think Micromax, Xiaomi, Lava, all these
Yeah.
guys become mad aggressive.
Yep.
Micromax particularly, like, I think people don't give them enough credit. At least वो college crowd को तो वही लाया था,
Yeah.
right?
And also the rural crowd, dude. Like
Yeah,
they came out with phones that had the longest battery life and had a
yeah,
torch inside it. So these are all
yeah,
utilities that the rural folk
yeah.
really wanted. And Microsoft read that well. Kudos to that.
Micromax.
Micromax, I'm sorry.
And I mean, I remember um, before I got my iPhone, I had this phone called Nokia C3. It was a
Mm-hmm.
QWERTY phone, and
Right.
that was also a really cool phone. I think, did you also buy it? I don't remember if you also had one.
Yeah, yeah. I think I used yours only for a while, and then I bought one also because I loved the.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
You remember there was a Nokia QWERTY phone which we had? I'll show you the
Yep,
photo
yep.
just a sec.
I also used it. I think it was based on, I think a much higher budget phone used to come, and the C3 was based on that. I'm not sure what the phone was based
Hello, Siddharth, can you hear me?
Yep. Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I was just saying, there was this pretty cool Nokia phone, Nokia C300. I think both of us had that also before the smartphone. But
Yep.
then, finally when smartphones came out, I think I transitioned very quickly. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, boss, Lena hai, it's like a computer in my hand, and I was a complete geek. You remember
Yep.
this, Siddharth?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, you were also. Yeah, I remember this phone very nicely too.
This is also a nice phone. And
Very nice phone.
yeah, so moving on, right? So after we had this, we started getting into apps. And in terms of power of a smartphone, the first time I had experienced it was, I think, around 2011, when I started my engineering. That's when Uber and Ola had launched.
Right.
And
Right.
we also had Taxi for sure.
Right.
And all my friends, especially some of them who had come from outside of Bangalore, they would
Mm-hmm.
obsessed over driving cars and having their car and going to driving class and all that stuff. And for whatever reason, I didn't want to do that. And I was
Right.
like, I think I saw an ad, if I'm not wrong, that you get a free trip or free 600 rupees.
Yep.
uh, and I signed up to Uber.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not wrong, I must have single-handedly got Uber and Ola like 600 users.
Yeah, and that was the time when it was really, peak time
Lucrative,
for yeah, lucrative for people who were starting off, starting out, and for students. Like I
yeah.
know so many of my friends who scored so many free rides from Ola that eventually they got banned from the platform, right? They can't, and they've got banned for life.
Wow.
So
So
yeah, that was even I was introduced to this whole app economy thing, in through Ola and Uber itself initially, and
right.
after that I remember I was really fascinated with the idea of shopping online, and so I hate shopping, right? And
Right.
if there is some way or the other which I can avoid it, I would do that. And
Oh,
when I saw that
100%.
and when I saw that I could, do the whole thing online, and I could,
Yeah.
return the things that I didn't like. I was like, yeah, then now why would anybody want to go to a mall or a shop? Since then I've been shopping online since 2014 or 15. I don't remember, going to shop anywhere else.
Yeah.
So that was something that really helped. But what really got me up close with how bad the smartphone or internet penetration in India is. So right after college, I graduated, and I started this company called Kheti.com, which was my first startup.
Right.
We failed very massively, but that apart, our first job was to go. So our idea was to connect farmers to industries, right? And one of our first jobs was to go to these villages and bring farmers on board, right? Bring them on board the platform and tell them how it works and all of that. So for all this to happen, they had to be using a smartphone, right? Or they had to have a working internet connection. And I
Right.
remember going to interiors of Karnataka, interiors of Rajasthan, and everywhere I went, I hardly, like, if I visited 100 farmers, I would have, only 5 or 10 who understood what I'm talking about, who got the idea of an online market, or who even understood that how a smartphone works. Everywhere else, I struggled with farmers having feature phones. And cut to now, there are a lot of startups that have started in the same concept and space. And I've seen a lot of these interviews with their founders, and also other startups that who cater to the rural market. And their response has been very promising. Like they're like, we didn't have to explain everything to these guys. They already knew what a smartphone was, what Google was, what YouTube was, how you download an app, how you register yourself. So that transition from 2014-15 to 2021, and it only took 5 to 6 years, but it has been
It was all thanks to
insane.
Mota Bhai.
Yeah, obviously, like it has been like we have 1.2 billion mobile connections today,
Yeah,
700 million internet users,
yeah,
600 million smartphones.
yeah.
Like
All thanks to Mota Bhai.
12 GB per user a month is our usage. That is the
Dude, not
highest in the world.
dude, not just that. The cost per GB is like
It's
peanuts when
it's
you compare
lowest,
to
right?
US and
It's
Europe and all that.
exactly. It's predicted that by 2025 this number will go to 25 GB per month.
I won't be surprised. My
Yeah, yeah,
current
obviously.
utilization, I have a 2 TB plan at home of Act, and that seems less sometimes.
Right. Because everybody is doing video calls, everybody wants to
Right,
watch things on HD
right.
because it is affordable, right? Because Geo has come in and swept over the market like nobody's business. Like,
Yeah,
it launched in September 2016 and with the promise of cheap 4G, high speed data plans, and all of that.
yeah.
And within 6 months, it had
And
100
paired
million
this,
customers.
dude, and this paired with continuous onslaught of cheap smartphones from China.
Yep,
Like
yep. This
good
paired with
phones, like
good phones, good
7,000,
phones.
8,000 rupees, very good phones. Like
Yep.
there was a point when you had a feature phone. You had a feature phone which would have costed like 6, 7,000 rupees, and you had a smartphone with every freaking application and everything which would cost you the same amount.
Yep,
And
yep.
especially Micromax, of course. Sorry, Micromax started it, but Xiaomi took it to a whole other level.
Yeah, and then these guys Lava and Gioni and all these
Yeah,
Chinese companies, they came in, and I think even they acknowledge that India is their biggest market, right? And
yeah,
even today, if you look at Amazon and Flipkart, the highest sales they do is in mobile phones.
100%.
Also offline stores, like there is a constant barrage of offline stores, and new ones keep opening, and it is a insanely growing industry, at least in India. Like people love smartphones. They want to upgrade every 2 years. They want to buy the best one that is possible. They'll
Yeah.
research all of it, and because of that the whole industry has opened up, right? Like that is
So
what we
that's
want to
where
talk about.
let's get into our topic, which is
Yeah.
how they have opened India up. And I
Yep.
want to start with, before we get into the business side of things and before we get into the tech side of things, I want to start with a very, very fundamental way which smartphones have opened us up. And that is something which we take so granted these days: access to information.
Yep.
It's ridiculous how 10 years ago, if you had to access information, how hard it would be.
Yep.
You would have to had a broadband connection, a laptop, or a good, desktop, living in some urban area, knowing and having accounts, knowing how to use the Internet Explorer or Firefox or Chrome or whatever it is. And that's how you would be able to access information, and you will be like, this is not a lot, Nikhil. I mean, today it's not a lot. Just 10 years ago that would be hard. Like, you would have to be in a upper, like a top 5, top 10% income bracket to have all these
Yep.
things at your home.
Yep. And even
And
then, it wasn't sure that you would get your connections, get your access, because
right,
BSNL was the only provider, and
yeah,
you
I
had
think
to go
Airtel and
through.
Act got into it a bit later.
Yep.
And uh, this is, I mean, talking about urban areas. Rural areas, access to information was always restricted. In fact, people would make money just because they had access to information, nothing else.
Yep.
Just because they knew something before someone else, they would make money. Just because they had the contact number of the local cooperator, just
Right. Right.
because they had the contact number of the mandi in the next village, whatever it is. And that access to information has so completely changed the way, at least I think, and I'm sure how everyone across India or even the globe thinks, it's just hard to fathom that anything I want to know about, like 99% of human knowledge, I can access in few seconds today.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like, okay, Siddharth, like, what are your thoughts on that? You know, how important access to information is.
Yeah, I mean, most of curiosity, most of development or innovation comes from this basic aspect of having an access to information. Now, how this market is, how the internet has opened up in a very very layman type example. Say somebody wants to start selling something online today, right? And if they had to do that 7 or 8 years ago, or even 5 years ago, they had to go through a lot of steps. They had to go through a lot of service providers. They had to go through a lot of development work. All of this costed a lot of money. All of this costed a lot of resources, right? And even then, you were not really sure of getting returns, of getting sales from the day one. Now, cut to today, all you have to do is register yourself on Amazon and Flipkart and Meesho, and you can start selling from today. You don't have to wait, right? And
Hmm.
once you've registered, you will start getting orders. Like that is how the
Right.
algorithms are, made. That every seller needs to get an order. So today, let's say you want to become a content creator, right? Say you want to put out you have something to say. If you wanted to put out a YouTube video, or want to shoot a video a few years ago, you had to have a lot of equipment. You had to have a lot of understanding of how video works, of how shooting works, of how publishing works, how distribution works. Today you don't need all of that. Today all that you need is a smartphone, and you can start publishing videos. And
And look, you're talking about the creation aspect, you know, getting to a part of creating a business or trying to start sales and all. Let's come back to something even more simpler, you know, from a consumption aspect.
right,
Like,
right.
if I wanted to know that who was the president of our country in 2001,
Yep.
it's, it's a quick Google search away.
It
If
is,
I
it
want to
is.
know who my local MP and MLA was, hell, if I want the contact number and I want to call him, I can actually get that number. I can
Yep.
fucking search. I'm not joking. You can go and search who is Baswangudi Cooperator, and you can call him and you can give him a piece of your mind today.
Yep. Yep.
And previously, access to such information was so restricted. It was sad. Especially. So, I recently read a very interesting article that the fastest way, and I'm of course taking a very crazy tangent here, but bear with me. The fastest way to solve or to move people to a more, what's the right word, green or eco-friendly environment is to make the poorest of your society rich faster. Okay,
Yeah.
it's such a like, it's such a weird thought, you know, you wouldn't ever think about it. You'll be like, how is the income level of that poor guy related to how well the world does, you know, in terms of environment and eco-friendly and all that. And the fastest way to make poorer richer is to educate them.
Yep.
So the translation of the corollary is what? If you wanna improve the environment we live in, the world we live in, the fastest way to do it is to educate the poorest of your country faster.
Yep. Yep.
Now, why am I telling all these things? Think about it. If I had to say my vehicle breaks down, I am extremely poor. I can maybe afford some tools, but I can't afford to, you know, go to a mechanic. Previously, I would have to probably take a salary cut for 2 3 days, somehow get my vehicle fixed, take a loan, get that fixed, take a loan from a fucking loan shark who will probably charge 30% interest rate an annum, and then get the vehicle fixed and then finally go ahead. Right now, the same guy can search how to fix my bike,
Yep.
or my bike is making sound, what to do. Fuck, in his language, मेरा bike खटखटा रहा है, क्या करूं?
Yeah, I think sometimes like we take internet for granted. We take so much access because there's a bundle load of it, right? There's a glut of information,
Right,
and we've all seen how this access to information and how good internet and access to internet can be used in a negative way, can be used to spread hate as well, can be used to spread any type of propaganda as well. But that aside, like Nikhil mentioned, right, the very core aspect of this is that it gives access to information that was previously unavailable, right?
right,
It wasn't difficult or easy to access. It was just unavailable to everyone, right? And today that is not the case. Today
right,
each and everybody who wants to learn, we spoke about this in our last podcast where we told you why we guys don't really come out with courses. It's because most of the courses are available for free on YouTube, right? On everybody can learn anything they want to on YouTube or on Google, and you don't need to pay
right,
up for it. And that
right,
is how the internet has democratized the world, right? It's not
right,
just democracy, or ideas are not just restricted to a country anymore. Like
right.
if there is a liberal democracy that is doing well, its ideas will spread all over the world through the internet. It's not local anymore,
Dude,
right?
forget about the poor and all that. Let's talk about me. I think I'm relatively well off. I think
Yep.
and I'm fortunate that I've been able to afford a pretty decent living.
Yep.
And I recently bought a car. Uh,
Mhm.
I was like, what do I do when I buy a new car? How do I what happens in service, right?
Right.
If my car gets punctured, what do I do? I mean, स्टेफनी तो कार के अंदर है, साले को रिप्लेस कैसे करूं?
Even before buying the car, right? I'm sure you
Right.
did your research on these platforms, कि कौन सा better है, कौन सा का
Yeah,
service
yeah.
better
So
है.
I'm coming to that. I was like, I had these questions. I was like, what documents do I need to have? What will RTO check? What are my
Right.
taxes? But after I bought the car, how do I maintain my car? My car was a specific kind of engine. It was called a DCT engine, a dual clutch transmission. Why am I able to tell you this? Because I actually went and I searched what is a DCT engine, how to maintain a DCT engine. And you
Right.
know whose video I found? This just blew my fucking mind when I experienced it, okay? A 85-year-old mechanic in the US who's been creating content for 50 years for TV channels, for news, and now on his own
Oh,
YouTube channel.
right.
He is a mechanic of 53 years.
That is
He's been a
insane.
car mechanic for 53 years, and he literally opened up a car and he told, this is how DCT works, this is what you got to do, this is how you fix it. Like, not only is information available, it's available from the sources who are incredibly legit.
Yeah,
Like,
and like it's not you'll find all kinds from A to Z. You like nobody. It's not like you'll find only one part of the information. You'll find the whole picture, right? And
right,
it's true. That's true for anything. Like for anything you do today, that you almost always start with a Google search,
right.
right? And access to that has only been possible through smartphones and cheaper internet, right? There's no other way. You can look, dude. In fact, I want to talk about UPI also, right? UPI has played
Yeah, yeah. So we'll come to the
insane role.
business first. So let's start with consumption, then we'll go into
Yep.
creation, and we'll go into transaction and trust. We'll end with
Yep.
that.
So
So
consumption has drastically been disrupted. Like there's no nothing that comes close that at least in my mind that comes close to the internet in the past century that has changed consumption the way
for
internet
sure,
has. There's nothing that comes close. You can do everything online. You can shop. You
right.
can you can order food. You can travel. You can book your travel. You can market. You can like and now with the metaverse, you don't have to leave your home only now. Like it's almost come to that.
That's where it's going. But yeah, coming back to consumption, the second story which I want to share is specifically about a lot of news articles which started coming out that this train conductor, sorry, this train coolie, he cracked the UPSC
Right.
because he had free Geo and he used to watch YouTube videos of people, training them for UPSC. And I
Right.
was like, of course. I mean, why not? Like,
Exactly.
this was
Exactly.
pakka going to happen. Why is this a surprise to you guys? Because
And
I
this is what I
remember,
was talking about when I
yeah,
said, democratization has happened because of the internet. These
yeah,
are the kind of things that, I was talking about it. There are no, doormen anymore. There are no guards outside
yep,
any place. Anywhere you want to break in, you can. There
right,
are all the resources are available, all the material that you want to crack any entrance exam is
right,
available, all the teaching that you want is available. All
yeah.
that is left is effort from your part, right? Everything else is there.
एग्जैक्टली एंड यू विल बी लाइक निखिल यार अभी कॉन्टैक्ट्स तो नहीं मिलते लाइक कंजम्पशन का ठीक है मैं पढ़ लूंगा पर कॉन्टैक्ट्स नहीं होंगे मेरे पास आज लाइक भाई आई विल टेल यू अ स्टोरी हैपेंड इन 2017 or 18. This is of course
Right,
when smartphones have completely spread, and what had happened was my mom along with my mamisa is uh, uh, my mom's brother's wife. They had
right,
gone to Mumbai for a checkup. She was carrying.
right.
She was, I think, 2 months or 3 months pregnant and gone for a checkup.
Mhm.
And we were like, okay, it'll be fine. They'll be able to manage it. We'll check everything on the phone. Uber वगैरह book करना है तो कर लेंगे. Me and dad were not available, and we were like, fine, you go because flight में जाना है, flight में आना है. 2 दिन का काम है.
Right, right,
So they went. They got the checkup done. While coming back, one of the spice jet hostesses or stewardesses, I don't know what they're called, uh, they didn't let them in. They said that you can't be carrying and we won't let you on the flight. The thing is that first thing was we were like, okay, is that the case? So mom called us, like, they're not letting us in, what do we do? So first thing was I was like, let's check the rule first. So we
right.
immediately
Okay.
Googled.
Yeah.
We are like, okay, what's the rule? And in the rules, SpiceJet's guidelines itself, it clearly states that if they are in the third trimester, which is like the seventh, eighth, ninth month, that time you're not allowed to travel. If not, you
Right,
can travel. So we're
right,
like, okay, we brought that up. We sent the screenshot, and the mom showed it to the SpiceJet stewardess, and she was like, no, I will still not allow. We were like, acha. So now you are like contacts chahiye na. So I opened up fucking LinkedIn. I searched VP at SpiceJet. I found
right.
him.
Exactly.
I connected with him. Within a second, I was able to get his number. We
Right,
called him. We blasted him. We were like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, there's a pregnant woman, and that's how you treat. And it seems that stewardess had become very rude. We had no contact. We had no connection. Fucking, I was not connected to him also. But we
right,
got his number. We spoke to him. That guy made sure that my mamisa and mom were properly taken into the flight in wheelchair, properly taken care of throughout the whole process.
right.
Like, what contacts are you talking about? कौन सा कॉन्टैक्ट चाहिए बॉस? तुमको क्या बात करना है, कैसे प्रेजेंट करना है खुद को, उसके बारे में टेंशन लेना है. कॉन्टैक्ट तुमको कोई भी मिल जाएगा. किसके साथ बात करना है बोलो, मिल जाएगा.
Yup. And
Like,
that wasn't the case. Like पहले अगर ऐसा होता तो they would have just come back. They would have been like, हाँ नहीं छोड़ा हमको, right?
right,
But that is not the case anymore. Like, and because of that, जो पहले there were these people who used to, act as I'm not getting the exact word, like act as guards or doormen, you know. And there was this private club of people like
toll, toll, toll.
there was this toll that you had to pay, and
Right,
everything wasn't available for everyone. All
right,
these doormen and guards have been disrupted because of information. Right now, today
right.
you can Google any law you want. You can
Yeah,
And we highly underrate how important and impactful Google is, and we also underutilize it, in my
Correct.
opinion, right? Because there is so much that is available online. There is
Yeah.
everything that you need is at your fingertips, and we've heard this so many times again and again that it is almost become uh, like a drag now, right? Like, okay, yeah, we know everything's available, but we don't want everything. We want to, work hard for it and all that. But you work hard on the things that you want to create, the things that you want to build. Don't work hard on things that are already created, that are already there,
Exactly.
right? And I think because there is so much information available at your fingertips, innovation and thinking innovatively has become so much more easier and liberating. Like, you don't have to think of constraints anymore, right? You can free flow. You can let your brain flow the way it wants. Think of all the ideas that you want to explore and actually think how practical it is. Like, within 1 or 2 days, you can actually find out how practical any of your ideas are.
Yep.
And yeah, man, I mean, consumption wise, nothing comes close to the internet. I think the way internet has disrupted the economy and the consuming patterns, nothing
And
comes.
yeah, moving on to the next part, which is the creation aspect, which is like the basis of entrepreneurship, of innovation, of business building, of fucking wealth creation also. Let's start with that. Let's start with wealth creation. Today, I want to know what are Warren Buffett's philosophy on wealth creation. I can hear from Buffett's mouth and try to replicate it myself.
Exactly.
Uh,
अब इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप कल जाके उसके सारे वीडियोस देख लोगे तो यू विल आल्सो एंड अप बिकमिंग हिज have his net worth or end up following his pathway. Obviously, there are caveats to this thing. What we're trying to say is there is there is no longer a price to pay for information, whether it is
yep,
high level information from the horse's mouth, or whether
yep.
it is very basic information, right? For every
Let
kind of
and
information,
and adding to this, right? Let me give you a simple example of how it's practically played out for us also.
right?
So my first startup, I built it on the internet. I learned how to build it on the fucking internet. I have no marketing or sales experience. I have no CRM experience. I had no website building experience. I fucking didn't know what laws to follow and how to get my company registered. So, you know what I did? 2015, when I started my first startup, how to register a company in India. And they led
Yeah,
me to Vakil Search, and Vakil Search took care of all my registrations. I had to pay 10,000 bucks. My company is registered, my GST is created, my PAN card is created, done. Then I was like, okay, how to get copyright on my logo? And then they, again, Vakil Search is like, we'll take care of it for you. Why you worried? You just have to make a payment here and done. And I was like, fuck. And I was speaking to my dad and I asked him like how he did it. He's like, Nikhil, it was a 6 months process. It was a big headache. I he was like, कंपनी चालू
exactly,
करना है तो 100 बार सोचना है भाई क्या बोल रहा है तू आई वाज लाइक नहीं
exactly.
मेरा तो स्टार्ट हो गया
हाँ, and वो भी इंटरनेट पे ही हुआ सब कुछ.
exactly. And this is 2015. This is like, smartphones had just slowly started growing in India. And
Yeah.
after that, I was like, okay, how to get customers for my business? And I learned about Google ads. I learned about Facebook ads. Learned about LinkedIn ads. I learned about what's a website, what's an SEO. Dude, I learned about what is a fucking vendor agreement. What's an agreement between your suppliers and you? Forget about customer agreements.
Yep.
We had a so this is my actual experience. Okay, 2015 we were working with a lot of design firms. The design
Right.
firm told me that we'll share the designs with you when we sign an NDA. And I was
Right.
like, yeah, sure. And I have no fucking clue what an NDA is. So I go on Google and I type what's an NDA. And I read up. I'm like, okay, this is what it is. And my point is this, right? I built that entire business, not just fucking company creation, okay? How do I hire employees? How do you do accounting? What expenses to track? What's a private limited company? How to divide shares? I mean, how do you seek investments? What interest amount is a good interest amount for a loan? What should be your payment terms? I am not joking that entire business over the 3 4 year period. Rather than building business, I was just on Google searching everything on the face of earth.
Yep, yep. And see that is what I was trying to say, right? Like all that is required anymore is a bias for action. Apart from that, everything else is available. Like
Yeah,
everything that you want is there, and so we're not just talking about. So let's talk about India specifically, right? We all
right.
know the power of the internet and the penetration internet has given us, right?
Yep,
But specifically in India's case, first of all, we leapfrog in terms of users because of Geo,
yep,
right? Everybody has
yep,
a smartphone and an internet connection right now.
yep.
Now, after that, what I think after Geo, the second most important thing that has happened in our country for opening up the economy and the whole country has been UPI. I don't think there is any other system anywhere in the world that is so easy to use, made by the government, and simple without it is subsidized, of course. It is not free. The government pays for the transactions, but for right now it is free for you, right? And I cannot think of anybody else or any other country that has this. Even in the US today, if you
Yep,
had to make payments online, there
right,
was this huge process, and that is why uh, Jack started Stripe.
right.
But in India, it is as simple as opening your Beam app and scanning a QR code or entering a number and
Right.
sending that payment. Like you don't have to, do anything else. And I think it is simply mind blowing because like you don't understand the kind of the kind of infrastructure, the kind of execution capabilities, and the kind of government support it needs. Mind you, it is a government app. It is not built by somebody private. Beam
Right.
UPI is a completely government backed and executed entity. It's from National Payments
Corporation
NPCI,
India.
yeah,
Yeah.
Corporation of India, and UPI is a unified payments interface, which
Right.
simply says that any online app you want to use for payments you can use through UPI, and it is so simple to use. It is I'm blown away by UPI. Okay, like in any other country, if you start a business and you want to start accepting payments online, you have to go through an insane amount of procedures, right? And
Yep.
even then it's not sure that you'll get the payments, right? Whether you're a small business owner or a large business owner, this was a legit problem, sending and receiving money. For anything to have, for an economy to operate and open up, this is the bedrock of it, right? You have to be able to send and receive money online, otherwise it's just not possible. And UPI has done it brilliantly. One of the few things that I'm a fan of this government is UPI. It's insane. Like I can't. I'm a big fan. I don't know, but
No, the
the
reason
way.
I'm laughing is I know how distasteful you're about the current government, and you're like,
Yeah.
boss, ये एक बहुत सही चीज किया.
No, no, but you have to give credit where it's due, dude. Like
Yeah.
like there is no other country. I don't know how to tell you guys.
Dude, so
For
I'll tell
example,
you, I experienced this firsthand. Okay, so after engineering, a lot of my friends went to US for studies, and they
right.
have the traditional credit card and the swipe and all that.
Mhm.
And they had come to visit, and wherever
Right.
we had gone, I was just scanning and paying, and they're like, "What is this? What are you doing?"
Yeah, and for them to see it in India, it's like a shock. I'm like, huh?
Dude, so if
Cake?
you consider, especially urban areas like Bangalore, I honestly
Oh,
feel we live a better life than they do in the US. Like
yeah.
tech wise, Dunzo and Swiggy and all that is so
Okay,
cheap and so
big
quick.
big caveat. Okay, Bangalore has been way ahead of the rest of the country since a long time in terms of technology. Bangalore has always been at least a decade or two ahead, right?
Right.
Like Dunzo is a household name in Bangalore right now, है ना? You
Right.
come to the north, you come to Delhi, you come to Jaipur, you come to Bombay, nobody's heard of Dunzo.
Right.
Nobody knows what Dunzo does and nobody understands. And if you tell them that this is what Dunzo does, they're like shocked. They're like, what? That exists? Why don't we have it here? Right?
Right.
That is the reaction.
Exactly. And
And
then I tell
people,
them that, yeah, it goes from my bank account to his bank account directly, and I get an instant confirmation, and there's no charge for it. And they're like, what? What are you talking? Like, what the hell? And you don't have to carry a card or anything. I was like, dude, I don't remember last when I paid with something from my wallet.
yeah, dude, I don't remember carrying my wallet if I'm in Bangalore. And for the past, I think at least 2, 3 years, I haven't carried my wallet in Bangalore. And this is not just going to parties or going to the restaurant. Even if I'm just going down to get a packet of Maggie, I am not gonna carry like I don't do that here also. I am in a very small town in Rajasthan. Even here, the freaking sabji ka thela has a UPI code on it, dude.
Yeah.
Like what else? Like, that is
And
the kind of penetration UPI Geo has managed in
and
India.
I do want to give credit to Paytm, phone pay and Google Pay
Yep,
for
yep.
having given incredible rewards to get all of these guys on the platform. I mean, what's the easiest way to get someone on the platform, Siddharth? Tell
Yeah,
him
you
that अरे
go
तुम इसमें पेमेंट करोगे तो तुमको कैश कार्ड मिलेगा.
कैशबैक मिलेगा एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट और अब तो वो भी नहीं मिलता यार अब तो कुछ भी नहीं
No,
मिलता
so
राइट फिर भी
now
पीपल हैव सीन द वैल्यू ऑफ इट ना फॉर इट्स यूटिलिटी कि हाँ इट्स जस्ट सो मच बेटर देन कैरिंग अ कार्ड और अ वॉलेट एंड
let
पेइंग
me
कैश
I when I realized that this is just transformational was I had gone to buy something from a grocery store.
राइट
I didn't have change, and I gave him a 500 rupee note. He's like, "Sir, change illa UPI madi."
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, everybody, like, it's no longer a rich man's club. Like,
Right.
everybody is in on it, right? And there are these apps that help you, you know, pay from anywhere, pay from any bank account, and there's a flood of fintechs, right? With
It's
buy
all
now,
because of this only, right? It's all because of the UPI
all because
infrastructure
of the
itself.
UPI infrastructure. That's what I was
Yeah.
telling you.
So, I mean, I want to give an example here of a very nice, famous fintech, which I mean, recently got into some murky waters with regulations. But I'm sure all of you have heard of Bharat Pay, right?
Yep.
So, Bharat Pay is one of those few companies which has zero transaction charge to the merchant or the consumer. And the way they make their money is they analyze these financial transactions and they give loans out to merchants at
Yep.
decent interest rate 1% 2%. And the reason why they're so huge is they have a 96% collection rate of their loans. I
Right.
mean, more than anything, I think that speaks to the volume of Indian consumers, of how Indian business people, rather, you hear that, okay, they're not trustworthy and all. Guys, 96% repayment rate is ridiculous for a loan. But anyway, that's an example of a entire fintech startup, a $2.5 billion business, which has just done it, leveraging the UPI data.
उसने क्या किया उसने बस सब कोड को एक जगह डाल के अपना नाम डाल दिया नीचे
Nahin, nahin, nahin. So what he does is he removed the transaction charge. A lot of these companies like Paytm and all, they started adding transaction charges to these thelawalas.
yeah
Very
no
small.
even GPay doesn't add a charge
No, no.
GPay is also
If you
free
have a GPay merchant account, they add.
oh if
So
for receiving payments you're saying
yes.
okay
So
okay
what Bharat Pay did was they're like, look, we'll not charge you a single penny. This is the
oh
same
of
UPI
course
account which
yeah
you have.
you won't
But then we'll give you loans if you want it and we'll make money like that. And they actually have made big money like that. They focus on
yeah
those micro loans. 10,000 rupee wala loan, 5,000 rupee wala loan.
with working capital requirements
Yes. And they've done a very good job with it. And I mean, that's why it's a $3 billion business. They're a bank. But point is that, right? Like the entire system is possible because of the UPI infrastructure. So as a consumer, I can pay whichever app I use. The merchant can receive whichever app he uses Bharat Pay, and Bharat Pay can give him loans based on his transactions. वो अगर 10 लाख का धंधा कर रहा है तो उसको 10 लाख का वर्किंग कैपिटल खुशी खुशी देगा.
That all of this is also possible because of the existing infrastructure, of course, but
Yeah,
also because of a shared obsession with everything digital, right? And that
yeah,
is that
yeah.
is what I see in India, right?
Yep.
Almost it's not just with consumers; it's also with businesses, right? And I'm not talking about your small and medium businesses. I'm talking about your startups, right? And how they are obsessed with internet and data and reading data and then bringing out business models by inferring that data, right? 5, 10 years ago, you might have not even heard of data analytics and business intelligence. But
Right.
today, that is the name of the game. Like if you don't have
Right.
a date or somebody to read data and give you insights, you're losing out.
Right.
So I think that is also possible only because of the internet and because of the penetration of smartphones in our country. उसके बिना एक तो ये जो इंजीनियरिंग टैलेंट का पूल है इतना बड़ा, वो एक्सपोज ही नहीं होता इंटरनेट को, है ना? टू बी ऑनेस्ट,
Right.
like they wouldn't have been exposed to the internet, to the computer, to a smartphone. And if somebody has not been exposed to that, what are the chances that he'll end up becoming an engineer? Very
Right.
rare, right? So I think that plays a very huge role when it comes to nurturing and developing talent as well. And
Right.
we all know that we are way ahead of the world in terms of talent when it comes to data scientists, computer engineers,
Dude,
designers.
even mechanical and civil, we actually have incredible talent. They've just not got those opportunities which IT guys have got,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
they have been forced to learn coding and become engineers and computer
Yeah,
engineers
yeah.
themselves.
And honestly, I think it's for the good. You'll be like, Nikhil, sub software engineer ban jayega to kya? I was like, no, Nikhil, Siddharth, because what happens is when a mechanical engineer learns coding, he gets into robotics. When a
Okay.
civil engineer learns coding, he gets into BIM and construction robotics. You got
Arey,
what I'm
but
trying to say?
for all of that to happen, now he has to go outside the country, dude. Inside
No,
in
no.
India, there's
Boss, what are
hardly
you saying?
anything.
So I'll give you a simple example. Simple example. Logistics is a major growing segment in India
Yep.
across the globe.
Yep.
Okay. In logistics, one of the most innovative companies in the world is this company called Great Orange. They
Okay.
make logistics robots.
Okay.
They help Amazon
Oh,
Flipkart,
are these
manage.
guys the ones who make the warehouse robots?
Yeah. And they're an
Okay.
Indian company. Did you know that? There's no
No idea.
fucking way this company starts anywhere else because one is the talent cost is a lot lower in India. The volume of talent available is a lot larger.
Yep.
Like the number of engineers you need to figure out a robotics is ridiculous. All of these
Yep.
guys are mechanical engineers. The problem is the mechanical engineers who don't get jobs. They're okay. I'm not trying to disrespect anyone here, but the mechanical engineers who are not getting jobs are complete dumb fucks. You know why? They will do an engineering project for a 60-year-old, 70-year-old technology like idiots. They should be doing projects using Pi, using the Raspberry Pi, creating mechatronic components, and leveraging that to get into advancing technologies like logistics, medical, etc. You really think combustion engine is gonna come or is gonna continue now? You're a complete dumb fuck. The
No,
reason
see,
I
but for that also to happen, Nikhil, that's what, see, where I'm coming from. I'm saying, okay, agreed that, these guys need to upgrade themselves, upskill themselves, to learn whatever is, in trend right now in the industry, and then look out for opportunities, right? Say somebody does that also. Even after that, the number of companies hiring in India, first of all, for core, streams is very less. I tell
no,
you,
I completely
when
disagree.
you compare the number of engineers graduating and compare the
Okay,
number of opportunities coming out every year, it's a
okay.
huge difference. It's not a small difference. Like there are
No, I
so many
disagree
engineers
here.
coming out, right?
I disagree here, and let me tell you why. because I have had the opportunity to interview these guys.
Right.
Siddharth, look, when I'm hiring at a large company, at a startup, wherever I'm hiring, the person
Right.
needs to have some level of skill set in specific
Yep.
areas. My point is, with the smartphone, with the internet, irrespective of which fuck all company or which fuck all college you're from, or whichever, you know, like you have AAA colleges, right? Imagine you're in a triple C college,
Mm-hmm.
right? And at this point, if you are not leveraging and building skills, for example, are you seeing this screen which I'm sharing?
Yep. Yep.
That's a mechanical engineering robot with next level of AI, with next level of cloud software. And you will be like, okay, Nikhil, like, how am I supposed to build skills for that? Go on YouTube and search how to make a logistics robot. And if you have that skill, I'll tell you right now, I'm 100% sure Grey Orange will just hire you outright. You
Yep.
hear so much that software engineers have become so expensive. The point is, you need to have that skill. Today, if you go with a combustion engine technology skill to a company, they will laugh you away. They'll be like,
Yep.
इसका क्या करूं मैं?
And
तू
also,
जाके बनना जनरेटर.
because you mentioned this, I want to point this out that the internet has not only opened India up, it has opened the world up, right?
Right.
And because of that, if you are a fresher, right? If you're a fresher, you just graduated mechanical engineering, right? You are not just competing with everybody else in your college or everybody else in your country. You are competing with every mechanical engineer that has graduated that year in the world,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And because you're competing globally, you
Right.
need to make sure that you are at least in the top 1%, and that
Yes.
will only happen if you proactively seek skills and upskill yourself. And that will not
Exactly.
come from your regular coursework, from your regular textbooks in your college. That is not going to happen. Like, you'll have to upskill yourself right when you're studying engineering, right when you're studying to become these whatever you're studying for,
Exactly.
because you need to understand that everybody has access to internet right now. If not everybody, at least in India everybody has access, right? So what are
Right.
the chances that somebody sitting in a mechanical shop or a CNC retrofitting workshop, doesn't upgrade or upskill himself and steal the job that you wanted in a mechanical engineering company? The chances are
Exactly.
really high. If there is somebody
Exactly.
with enough ambition and with enough drive, he do that. Why
Yeah.
would why would the company hire you then?
Dude, and you know what's the most fuck all part? And why I get angry with this and why I keep telling that India has opened up everything? Your engineering college teaches you how to do something called as CAD, CAD,
Yeah,
CAD
yeah.
on paper. Okay? They actually get you to manually sketch. If you apply to a design role with that training, you're useless.
Yep.
Because
It's
and
so
and why am I telling this?
so true.
Why am I telling this? बॉस तुम्हारा इंजीनियरिंग को तुम ब्लेम कर नहीं सकते, ठीक है? वो लाइक मैं अभी बैंगलोर के रोड को नहीं ब्लेम करूंगा. मेरे को अगर 6 बजे
हाँ,
का
वो
मीटिंग है
है, वो है।
तो मैं 1 घंटे पहले जाऊंगा, ठीक है? बिकॉज
Exactly.
ऑफ योर स्मार्टफोन, फॉर फ्री, गो सर्च बेस्ट कैड डिजाइन सॉफ्टवेयर. फर्स्ट लिंक ऑटोडेस्क आएगा, उसका ऑटो कैड आएगा फॉर 2D ड्राइंग्स, ऑटो ऑटोडेस्क फ्यूजन 360 आएगा फॉर 3D ड्राइंग्स. फ्री में तेरे को डाउनलोड करने के लिए देगा, फ्री में तेरे को ट्रेनिंग देगा, फोन में चला सकता है तू. आई एम नॉट जोकिंग. इन योर स्मार्टफोन यू कैन डू फ्यूजन 360 3D डिजाइन. से दैट डिड यू नो दैट लाइक द होल एप्लीकेशन इज ऑन द क्लाउड. It's no
Yep.
longer you don't no longer need some crazy ass rig.
Right.
And now with this shit available, तू जाके बोलेगा कि मेरे को डिजाइन जॉब नहीं मिल रहा है, भाई तू चूती.
हाँ, मतलब आगे पीछे यार आपको अपस्किल करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि इंडिया एज अ प्लेस हैज ओपनड अप ना, सबके पास इंटरनेट है, तो सब अपस्किल हो रहे हैं, तो अगर आप नहीं करोगे तो आप पीछे रह जाओगे. इट्स एज सिंपल एज दैट. There's no.
एंड डूड, यू आर टेलिंग मी दैट ओके जॉब्स नहीं है, शायद मशीन्स नहीं बन रही है. आई विल टेल यू इन बैंगलोर, which is like a software driven town. I know so many robotic startup who keep telling me, Nikhil, अच्छे इंजीनियर नहीं मिलते. रेडी है, गुड पेइंग रोल्स हायर करने के लिए रेडी है. यू हैव टू बी गुड. सिंपल एग्जांपल तेको देता हूँ. क्लाउड किचन्स के लिए एक बहुत ही बढ़िया प्रोडक्ट बनाया एक कंपनी ने. So you know cloud kitchens, they are all the rage. They want to
Yeah.
get as much automation as possible. So this bugger has made a machine which will allow you to create gravies with a machine. वो
Okay.
machine बनाने में, because this guy was a software engineer, he
Uh-huh.
learned how to fucking design on Fusion 360 and did it on his own. The software engineer is getting the job because he is researching, and you are not.
Yep. Yep. It comes down to a bias for action more than anything. अगर आपको
Absolutely.
अगर आपको करना है ना, अगर आपको मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग में ही काम करना है, तो
Yeah.
आप बनो ना अच्छे मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर, तो आपको मिलेगा जॉब. So
Exactly.
हाँ, like I think we've digressed. What we're trying to say is कि as far as opportunities and as far as infrastructure goes, the internet has massively opened up all opportunities there are, right? That I don't think there's any opportunity that is out of reach for anybody, at least
Exactly.
today. So
Yep.
from UPI to your smartphones to your cheap internet, this is a very interesting and insane combination, right?
Yep.
All these three combined can make any country an advanced country, right? It can lift most of its population out of poverty, if nothing else.
Right.
Because even today, there are farmers who know who are looking for weather updates on their smartphones and then planning their cycle of sowing and harvesting. And there are rural people who are actually ordering stuff online, who are getting entertained online, who are
Right.
watching YouTube, who are watching Moj and Chingari, and
Yep.
that they're not just using the smartphone as a medium for entertainment, as a medium for killing time. They're using it for productive purpose as well. They're using it to start a business, to upskill themselves,
Yep.
to create content. So
Yep.
the possibilities are immense, okay? And
100%.
there is hardly anything stopping you apart from your own self. So I think, yeah, man, smartphones have legit opened India up.
Dude,
A
so, yeah.
combination of smartphones,
So,
geo, and
yeah.
connectivity across the board with UPI.
So, coming to two parts, right? So, which was creation and trust, the
Yeah.
essence of what you're talking about. Guys, creation, irrespective of the kind of activity you're doing, wealth creation, service creation, app creation, business creation, whatever it is, to you will find hundreds of examples where someone started from nothing, started playing around on his smartphone, started playing around with Amazon or Flipkart, was a regional seller. One simple example, which recently, if you see, there was this company. Insider has a very nice YouTube channel in India, and they recently featured this company. I was blown away by this, and I was like, man, this is something which should be definitely covered. So just check this out, Siddharth. These guys were struggling to, get enough jobs for their art, for their for their pottery artisans.
Oh
And it's
yeah,
become
Mickey Cool. I've
huge.
heard about this. Yeah, they
It's become
started with
huge.
one guy who made a fridge, na? जो
This
मट्टी
one,
का fridge
they
था
made,
वो Mickey
yeah,
Cool.
he made a Mitika fridge which costs
हाँ.
like 8,000 rupees. And you just pour water in it and it keeps your vegetable fresh for like, I don't know, a lot of time. So this guy focused sitting somewhere in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat, focused heavily on his product, put it out there on Amazon, Flipkart, on his own website, and just sat back while his entire company got revolutionized.
Yep.
A small business owner. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's opened up, it's already opened up like this. So, if you're giving an excuse now, boss, तुम्हारे एक्शन में कुछ लफड़ा है.
Exactly. And this is an example of small business. I'll give you an example of a huge business. Okay, it's going to IPO very
Uh-huh.
soon. You all
Okay.
of us have heard of boat, right? Boat
Right.
accessories.
Yeah. Yeah.
If Amazon and Flipkart don't sell boat accessories tomorrow, the company will shut down. Okay, even the founder accepts it. The whole reason the company exists today is because of marketplaces like Amazon and Flipkart.
Right.
है ना?
Right.
And to think of it, just 4 years ago, there was no company, there was no boat. This all of this happened in 4 to 5 years, and today
Right.
they're talking about a 2,000 crore IPO.
Yeah.
Which is mind blowing, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't imagine the kind of scale they operate at. They are the number
Dude,
one
they have
seller.
600 employees, Siddharth. Boat
Yeah,
has 600 employees.
yeah, and like they are the number one bestseller across electronics, both on Flipkart and Amazon. There's
Exactly.
nobody coming close to them.
Yep.
This happened because of the internet, right? This happened because Amazon and Flipkart create existed in India,
Yep.
because UPI enabled payments online in India, because
Right.
these companies enabled logistics in India. Now
Right.
you imagine you're someone who created a brand.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to worry about logistics. You don't have to worry about sales. You don't have to
Right.
worry about marketing. You don't have to worry about inventory. You don't have to
Right.
worry about warehousing.
Right.
All you have to do is focus on marketing, right? And
Right.
create a brand. And the operations part of it, the selling part of it will be taken care of by these third party marketplaces like
Right.
Amazon and Flipkart. And both
Mm-hmm.
as a living example, if you want to create a multi-billion dollar company in the
Yep.
D2C segment, there
Yep.
is an infrastructure that is available, right from warehousing to transport to payment collection to returns to customer redressal. All of that will be handled by these guys. You don't have to get into any of that. That
Yep.
is mind blowing. If you tell this to your parents, somebody from that generation who's running a business, and you tell them that I don't need a warehouse or anything to run my business, they'll be like, "Are you dreaming or something?" Like that's not how it works. But it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
It does. Like it's possible today, and
Exactly.
it is mind blowing if you think of it.
Yeah. Dude, so I mean, I want to talk about this. The reason why we keep telling it's opened up, it's opened up, it's opened up is we recently started working with a chemical brand who makes some incredible chemicals. And he was like, Nikhil, look, I want to build a brand, I want to grow it, and I want to do all those things. My main issue is I don't have the capital to build an offline sales network. I cannot build distribution channels, I cannot warehouse. What are my options? So I told him, we'll build offline 5 years later. We'll only do everything on Amazon, Flipkart, and our own website for the next 5 years. And he
Yeah,
was like, will that work? I was like, 100%. Why not? Why won't it? And I gave him examples. Okay, boss, this guy started selling a freaking fertilizer. An organic fertilizer liquid, which you sell at, like 500, 600 rupees a liter. And it's for home gardens. And he's doing sale of like 25 lakhs a month.
that's what now. All kinds of scales are possible. It's not
Yeah.
like I would say a 5 years down the line also he doesn't need to establish a network because तुम कितना भी कर लो तुम Amazon से better infrastructure थोड़ी लगा दोगे. Like honestly tell me, like it's not possible to build
Yeah.
because they've killed it in that place, right?
Right.
E-commerce delivery, they have nailed it, Flipkart and
Right.
Amazon in India at least. So why do you want to establish another new channel? Rather than that, build a brand, let them take care of the grudge work, right? You're paying your commission to him, you're
Right.
paying it for that only. Big deal.
So yeah, I mean, these are some of the ways it's opened up. I finally want to talk about the last aspect, and which is the scary aspect. We spoke about consumption, creation, and trust.
Yeah.
And thanks to UPI and all that, all this is taken care of. And this is where you get to the stark reality. Because it's so accessible, so that do you think it's contributing to mass mind control, or rather, I don't know what's the right word, because media and all is so accessible, right?
Of course it is. Of course it is, dude. Like it is no to is obviously it is. We've seen it. We've seen how mass media. So mass media was only TV or radio before, right? It was nothing else. After the internet has come in, mass media is WhatsApp, mass media is Facebook, right? Now, TV and radio had a lot of regulations, had a lot of watchdogs, right?
Right.
तुम ये डाल सकते हो, तुम ये नहीं डाल सकते, तुम ये नहीं बोल सकते, all of that. Because they knew that it is going to a million people, and the power of mass media, and there were checks and balances and all of that.
Right.
Now the internet came in with its own disruption, and there's obviously no checks and balances. There's hardly any content moderation. It's a joke. We all know how much Facebook spends on its content moderation, and it's not humanly possible to actually moderate each and every piece of content that comes out on Facebook or YouTube or Google or whatever. So we've seen the power of WhatsApp. We've seen the power of WhatsApp as a market. Like India runs on WhatsApp, right? Most of businesses in India run on WhatsApp, right? But on the flip side, we've also seen the power of WhatsApp in spreading fake news, in spreading fake propaganda, in spreading hate. And we've seen that happen in like Facebook was used in Myanmar to spread so much hate and fake propaganda that it led to violence and led to people dying. And
Yep.
we've seen that happen in India as well. So obviously there's a con to it, and there's a negative side to it, but can't really do anything about it, man. Two sides of a coin. Like if you want something, you have to give up something. And I think our moral sanity is what we are giving up for a lot of these things, which obviously is not going to be a factor of concern right now, because we are seeing insane riches, we are seeing insane amount of money flowing in, we are seeing incredible markets being created, we are seeing incredible consumption that is taking place, and we are all fascinated by it because we are a growing economy. We have a emerging lower middle class that wants to get out of that and get into the middle class, and the
Get
upper middle
rich,
class.
boss. What?
Yeah,
Become the fucking wealthy. मेरा तो वही target है.
everybody wants that, right? And because it is a collective of people, it's not just one somebody who's responsible for it. And as a collective, as a mob, we all know that we ignore a lot of the things that are just uncomfortable but not hurting us, right? This is one of those things. This is making us feel uncomfortable for a while right now, but it's not hurting us. But in the long run, it will end up hurting all of us, because if you think of it, we are focusing on consumption, on materialism, on a lot of these things that carry Western values, right? And we are embracing all of these Western values at the drop of a hat. But at the same time, we are also going away from our own Eastern values, which is spending time with our family, talking to our family, talking to our friends, going out for a walk, being a part of the community, hanging out with the community. All that is being lost, and it's not a big price to pay right now, obviously. But like I said, with hate being spread as much as it is being spread right now, it's only a question of when. It's not a
When
question
this
of if.
implodes,
Yeah,
when everything implodes.
yeah, it is. I'm so sure, and I am pretty sure. The next world war will be started in the subcontinent. That is because the
Which
kind of
subcontinent?
Indian subcontinent.
Why?
Because the first of all, insane number of people, right? In India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. all
China.
these guys combined. No, I'm not. Yeah, let's include China if you want. All of us combined, we are more than anybody else, right? So many people, so many people who are diverse in culture, in ethnicity, in religion, in language, in all in their outlook of life, right? Combine that with affordable internet, affordable access and access to information, and power hungry politicians who want to spread hate and divide people. That is a dangerous recipe, right? And it is going to implode anytime, I am pretty sure. Either going to be China attacking us or India responding to an attack or something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean we are at the cusp of war. If you had to think of it,
No, man, I don't think so.
yeah, I'm pretty sure if there is a World War III, it's going to start in our subcontinent. Because
I
dude,
really doubt.
the kind of hate that is being spewed and propagated, it's not funny or it's not juvenile anymore. It's the shit's getting serious. It's hitting the fan, and we are not ready for it. We have not prepared for it. We are not ready to respond. We are not ready to retaliate, or I would say we are not. And also because most of it seems justified to a majority of the population. Most of the hate, most of the violence
Right.
seems justified. So if tomorrow, our prime minister goes out on an attack on some Muslim country, it will be celebrated in the streets. So yeah, that is the flip side. But this is obviously me pushing my thoughts to the extreme and
Right.
thinking in
So
conspiracy
my
terms.
my thought process is this, that uh, at least about this, I think we underestimate how much every single country on the face of the earth wants peace at its core, despite how crazy the politician is and all that. And I think we overestimate the chances of someone actually wanting to and pushing for war. Because for what you're saying, for it to work, you know, like how smartphones have opened up India and all that, this won't be a decision which is taken in, or this won't happen because of a small set of people wanted it. And I don't think a billion people would want something like this. And I don't
Um,
think so, not just one, but 2 billion people want something like this.
Nobody. Okay, wait. I'll tell you. You look at history of war. How many times do you think whenever it was started, war was always started by a handful few.
No,
It was
no.
never started by
So,
the majority.
let's talk about that. So let's take World War II specifically, which was the most recent war, with,
Uh-huh.
like at that scale.
Uh-huh.
Hitler had managed to brainwash entire Germany to committing to his vision.
Yeah,
And
and
I don't think something like that happens again.
why not?
I Because, okay, right now,
It's happening in our country as we
no, I
speak,
don't think
Nikhil.
people are. See, that's where I have a disagreement with you, even about, the political parties and all that. Is, I don't think people are getting brainwashed, Siddharth. I think they are very smart. I
It's not
think they
about
are.
it's not about us being brainwashed. It's about the majority, and they will get the majority brainwashed. I
No,
think
I
I think
don't
they
think
have.
that's happening. I think you are underestimating the intelligence of people, for the lack of a better word.
I'm saying you are underestimating the power of hate. It's very powerful, and on the internet, hate spreads much faster than love,
See,
right?
but
Hate
okay,
spreads
so
like
where
wildfire.
the reason I have a disagreement is hate spreading like wildfire has always been restricted to comments, likes, retweets, and some videos.
No,
It's
dude,
never,
it has come out in the real world. We saw that in
it's
Malaysia, right?
only happened in one small country.
No, dude, what do you say? Okay, wait. This
Dude,
wait.
you're talking about a
Firstly,
world war, right? For
this
something like that, you require ridiculous amount of mobilization. I don't think that's possible.
no,
Even
no.
when I
Wait.
hate on something on the internet, it's not more than a comment. I will not go on streets for it and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you
Fight a
don't need
war,
to. There are armies for it. Even when World War started, like it was not with it didn't start all at once, right? It started with
right?
one country. It started with Germany invading Poland. And people
Okay.
are like, hey, don't do, don't do, don't do. Germany is okay, I won't do. But then Germany invaded Hungary. Then they were like, don't do, don't do, don't do. They were like, no, I won't do. And after a point when Germany invaded Russia, that is when the West lost its shit. They were like, dude, we keep telling you not to do this and you keep doing it. What is your problem? And you're like, fuck you, I'm going to declare war. So all it takes is one madman, is what I'm saying. And we have that recipe.
Let's
Okay,
see.
so
I
this
think,
is a completely different topic for
yeah,
discussion.
I think we'll cover it once again. Is the
Yeah,
world at the verge of a war? I think that'll be a fun topic to talk about.
yeah. And
But,
Russia, Ukraine,
you
dude,
know,
look at what's happening.
dude, so they're not. That's not a war. That's what I'm trying to say. Manipulation, influence, and all that is completely different from a war. Russia
Dude, Russia
has
is
already
setting up.
placed. Russia has already placed a dummy government in Ukraine. If you're thinking there's going to be a war to acquire Ukraine, you're very. I think you're too early. They've already replaced the Ukrainian government with a dummy government. It's already done. What are you waiting for?
No, but dude, Russia is setting up medical camps on the border. You don't set up
Are
medical.
so all just to okay. So all that is just posturing on Putin's part to
Okay, yeah, it
consolidate
can
their
be.
power.
Can
What
be
I'm trying to
signaling,
say is
yeah.
the Ukraine is already theirs. Like, are you getting what I'm trying to say? War
Yeah.
हुआ ही नहीं. I think more often than not in the current scenario. Okay, the reason why I'm telling you that war won't happen and why I'm talking specifically about smartphones and all also. I am a firm believer that the world is run by capitalists and businessmen.
Yep.
Very clear. उसका doubt है ही नहीं दिमाग में. It's not run by governments. अगर governments चला रहा है तुमको लगता है तो तुम पढ़ा नहीं है तुमने. You should read more. Because it's run by business people. And what's the worst thing for business?
It is also the best thing for business.
No, 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 no. So this is where, see, that's what I'm trying to say. Right now, the amount of wealth being created is huge. You have no doubts about that.
Yep.
It is because of the free flowing open market for extended period of time.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what smartphones have opened up across the globe, in India and across the globe. Who the hell would want to stop this? If people are happy, engaging in the markets just on their smartphones and all, what else will give you such a good return? And you're talking about business, it being good for business, war being good for business. If you literally get down to numbers, the amount of wealth which few companies like, let's take another war, right, which happened, the Afghan war recently, US and the
I think
world versus
Nikhil, we
Afghanistan.
are digressing. This is a whole different topic.
Right, yeah, we'll discuss this. But my
Yeah.
thought process is that I don't think war happens because businessmen are running the world and they would never want something so detrimental to happen. But anyway, so in conclusion,
We got a Russian comment, dude.
let's see. But yeah, um, this was a fun conversation, discussing our experience with, like, how our life has changed because of the smartphone.
Yep.
And
And anybody's life can change with a smartphone, to be
oh
honest.
yeah, man.
If
I
you,
mean, no doubt about it. Absolutely
yeah,
no doubt about it.
if, if you're just you, if you have that bias for action, you can do wonders.
Right.
You don't need to. There are no, there's no, nobody guarding those exclusive clubs anymore. It's all open now. You don't need a
Yep.
fancy degree or a fancy ass family name. All you need are skills. All you need is proof of work. And if you can show that, you'll get in. And that is what I love about the internet. That is what I love about the smartphone opening India up. Like it has
Yeah.
provided access to opportunities to everybody.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
put all of us on an equal plane, right?
Yeah.
There's no advantages anymore. There's no privilege anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This was
Thank
fun.
you.
See you all tomorrow.